Committee of the Whole meeting, March 16th, 2026. The time is 7 p.m. Rob, will you read the roll?
Member Pierpont?
Here.
Member Orr? Member Wyrick?
Here.
Member Matheny?
Here.
Member McCleister?
Here.
Member Pratt?
Here.
Member Stocker?
Here.
6 present.
Thank you.
And we'll need a motion to excuse Member Orr.
I'll make a motion to excuse John Orr.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Orr is excused. Okay. First item on tonight's agenda is community economic development. This first one is a proposed legislation to approve the continuation. It's important. This is a continuation of the Community Reinvestment Areas Tax Incentive Agreement between the City of North Canton and property located at 1303 to 1305 North Main Street. Based on the recommendations of the North Canton Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council, following its review on February 24th, this legislation must be enacted before March 31st deadline to allow the city to submit its required CRA report to the Ohio Department of Development. This ordinance also directs that a copy be sent to the Ohio Development Services Agency. So once again, this is a continuation. Is this our last year for this? Is this 10 or 12?
12, that's
This is the
correct.
12th year.
This is the final year of this particular residential tax abatement.
Okay, and this is going to be, I believe, on an emergency. Reason being is timing wise. So information, including the stuff from the auditor, didn't get to the city until about the 17th of February, in time for the 24th meeting of the CRA. They did their approval. It went to legal for them to do their review. So it didn't make our previous committee meeting. It's making this one. Unfortunately, it has to be passed in order to get to the Ohio Department of Development by March 31st. Thus the single reading and passing on emergency. Again, it's the 12th year and the final year of the abatement. So, is there any questions, council, in administration? Anybody want to add to?
Just that the housing council met, and on the housing council new is Jeff Stocker, and Christina Weidrich is on the housing council, and the board's being run by Trisha now, okay. And we talked about, this shouldn't just be a board that just meets once a year to approve something that's on it, but being more of an active board to consider, like, let's look at our CRA, let's look at what's working, or more importantly, maybe what's not working. If you have, how did you say it, Jason? If you have, like an incentive program that no one's taking advantage of, like maybe it's not so incentivizing, so, we might need to look at it and look at what's best that we can do, because there is a goal here to, have, an incentive for, people to want to seek a CRA. And we really, other than this one, I think only in the history, we've only had one other. So is it working? So we're going to kind of explore those options. We talked about remember we talked about from the community, bringing someone on, maybe someone with a real estate background would be good, and having, some real good dialogue. I think our first meeting we set is in May.
Anxious to hear what comes from that then. Okay. I will make the motion to move 3A to council agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, Finance and Property Committee, Mr. McCleister.
All right, so item number 4A is going to be serving two purposes. So one will be to create a revenue fund for NOPEC grant fund, which we'll be discussing for the next item, but then also some authorizing some appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures. And this will be for the January 1st through December 31st, 26 timeframe. I don't know, did either of you two, since we have the benefit of having you guys here, care to elaborate on anything?
I'd love to. Okay, so we try to keep the budget as true as possible all the way through the year. We have appropriation amendments come to council when we either have new programs or new monies. In this case, we're gonna have both. So we're having new revenues come in of $1,123,850. Part of that, as you know, is when we receive grants, it's tripled. We advance the money, we spend the money, we get the grant back. So you'll see it tripled in a lot of different places. General fund, we have some vacant registration fees. We have the $294,000 grant from last year, the Ohio Department of Development for Price Park. We should be receiving that, and we did receive last week a portion of that 294,000, so we're increasing our revenue for that. We also have to receive another 294,000 in the grant fund because we're receiving the money. So we're receiving the money, or repaying the general fund. So apologize for the tripling of all the grants, but that's just the accounting method that needs to happen. Then on the appropriation side, we have quite a list. Okay, in the general fund, well, we had a retirement. Brian Hill, as everybody is aware, retired last Friday. And so that was not news that we had in October when we prepared the budget. So the reorganization, I know we have been discussing at different, times during the year about what we will do when somebody with 44 and a half years retires from the city. And so we are splitting that position. He was parks, he was also water distribution. So we will now have a person in charge of parks. We will have a person in helping at the water plant as an operations manager, and the superintendent at the water plant is taking over some more of those duties. So we're reorganizing some of those positions. In the North Canton Gulf Agreement at Arrowhead, we are obligated to provide $50,000 in operating funds if they need it. We don't budget for it until we know they need it. Well, they need it. So we have to add that to the budget. They always repay that before the end of the year, so that'll be coming back to the city. The $27,445 is the NOPEC grant award, and it's actually based on number of NOPEC customers, so in electric and gas. So that's how they come up with the allocation amount. It has to be something that we energy efficient. So Jim has been submitting, receiving quotes and submitting those, and which is a big reason for the emergency on the next one. The quotes that we March 24th. So that's why we wanted to make sure we can secure those quotes in. The overtime in the street department, they've used their overtime budget because the roads in the winter have been bad. And so we want to make sure if they are needing to work some overtime for the rest of this year, we need to have some budget in the payroll line items to be able to pay them that. So that's $8,600. Also in the transportation, the street fund, for the street sweeper, we are going to rent one because ours likes to be in the shop and it's not working well even when it's not. So we have one that we can rent for 2.5 months in the spring and then a month and a half in the fall. The one in the fall will actually be the one that we'll be looking to purchase in next year's budget. We'll probably split that over 26, 27, or 27, 28 budget over 2 years because it's an expensive piece of equipment. They're going to give us a 45% credit on our rental towards the new one. So it's really not money wasted. It's going towards our purchase. So that'd be great. Also in the street department, the high winds, a month ago, created a tear in our salt dome. I don't know if you can see right in the middle. You can see the cola. It's $34,250 to have that repaired. The insurance will reimburse us $20,800. So again, we have to pay for it all, but we will get some of that back. NOPEC grant. There's the 2 other pieces. We are spending the money, and that energy efficient will be the street lighting. I'm sorry, not street lighting. Replacing lighting with LED lights at the Parks Garage, the service center, and Price Park. So those are the 3 projects that will be funded with that grant. And then when we get the money, we'll return the advance back to general fund. In the water and the sewer fund, we're asking for money for rate consultation review. This is the year that we will bring rates back to council. So we have experts in that area. They will review the spreadsheets that we've maintained since they last did it in 2019. So it'll just be an update. We have a maximum in there. I'm not sure we'll hit that, but we won't go over it. I promise you that. Okay. And then as far as the self-insurance fund, we've transitioned to the Summit County group, but we still have some claims that we have to pay out that are still coming in from last year. We have so much time to send those through. So that's the $100,000 we're adding for claims in the insurance fund. So total appropriations $868,200.
Thank you very much for that great explanation. Any other thoughts or questions? That I move that we add item 4A to the agenda.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, item 4B, I had a long description of the grant award, ready to share, but Gina stole my thunder, so, was it 27,480, is that what it was?
$445.
$445.
$25, so yeah.
There you go. For, purpose of, some green and energy efficient lighting in some of our facilities, so, this is where we created the account before, this is actually having the mayor to, or authorizing the mayor to enter into this agreement, so. I don't know if there's anything more we need to discuss about this, and,
If you just want to know where the energy efficient lighting is, it will be at the park garage, at the service garage, and down at Dogwood Park.
Thank you.
Down at Price Park.
thank you. Any other thoughts? I move that we add item 4B to the council agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, and lastly is item 4C, and it's something that has been on our radar for a while. It's the purchase of a 2026 Workchin W60RI milling machine and the corresponding equipment that goes along with it. This was in our 2026 budget. This is just simply, we have, are locking in the financing of, and my sheet, I think I left on my calendar at home. Oh, no, right here it is. It was, I thought I had, it was 4.9% interest, and this would be funded through Huntington Capital Corporation. So, and we are, the emergency is because the interest rate is locked into the end of the month, so we want to make sure that we get in there beforehand. Any additions or questions? All right, well, then I move that we move this forward.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel and safety. Ms. Pierpont.
Okay, this proposed ordinance, I believe, makes 2 updates to chapter 155, which is personnel regulations. I think we're handling a couple different things here, so Catherine, feel free to correct me if I get any of this wrong. Full-time Parks Development Administrator role, and then we're gonna retitle the role of Superintendent Operations Manager to be more related to streets and sewer, calling it services.
Right, we also have just water, superintendent
And we
of
have just
water,
the
which
water,
is inclusive
okay.
of water treatment plant and water distribution.
Okay.
It's all under one person, and the other one is
So
services.
we'll break it down to the 2 things. So on the
Right.
new role for the full-time Parks Development Administrator position, I know that we anticipate to be tasked with various things coming out of our Parks Master Plan here in the near future. And that this person can also head up some of the other projects that are kind of being juggled by administration today. So I'll give you a chance to speak on that role.
Thanks, Holly. So this new position is not simply just adding staff. This is about adding capacity, direction, and long-term value to our North Canton Park system. We, as you all know, have undertaken, you approved, and we are well, underway. In fact, it's supposed to be done by the end of the month with the city's first and ever Parks Master Plan, a strategic plan, which is supposed to be a 10-year guiding document for our park system. And so far, we have had several meetings with the consultants. We've received results on some of the community focus groups and the surveys, and our community has made it very clear that they value their parks, recreational amenities, their quality of life. They have suggestions, whether that's adding new facilities or adding park programming. Having that master plan will help to, streamline and create the priorities for future capital opportunities, and we need to have, a dedicated staff member really that is leading our parks more strategically and not just from a maintenance level. I asked the question, and I might have been a little harsh on Brian Hill, who just retired. When we did Dogwood Park in 2022, one of the things we were successful with winning the State of Ohio award was you have to write about your project. And I had said in it, we had no new park development for 20 years. The last project he did, capital park improvement project he did, other than just maintaining anything, keeping it from breaking and cutting grass, was something at Price in '02. So then to go till 2022, I didn't understand. I was just like, why? Well, we didn't have capacity. We basically just had a park staff that could just do maintenance. But I think it's been a community priority to say that we want more than that. Everybody looks outside of our area and says, they have this, they have that, how do they have it? So one of the key things, in this position will be to not, so much, it's add, I know people are worried about, the cost in the general fund, right? Because that is where this is funding is coming from, the general fund. But it's hopefully to bring in grants and scholarship, sponsorships, and seek out through ODNR and through the capital budget and through Nature Works and different places where there is a lot of funding opportunity available to the city to hopefully sort of reduce the reliance on the general fund. Right now, everything from parks has to come out of the general fund. We don't have, anyone really dedicated to be able to look at alternative funding sources for the things that the community would like to see. So it brings strategic leadership. It aligns all of the 10-year, like I said, that's supposed to be a 10-year guiding document, that master plan. It aligns that. Like I said, we're looking for someone with grant writing experience, someone with project development experience. The position will be housed in administration. So it is different than the parks maintenance positions, which are out of the park garage. So it's different. It's just really a different vision that we have, that we want to align with not just the parks master plan, but also the city's master plan. So that is what the position is. We have a job description for it. It's quite lengthy. The plan will be to recruit someone who has experience in these areas and bring additional capacity and value to our park system in North Canton.
Any questions on
Any
that?
questions?
Okay, and
Yeah,
then
that well.
Well,
the,
no, were you gonna say
no,
something?
please go ahead.
I was just gonna bring up, I see the need and the value behind it. I struggle with the emergency. I think I'd like to allow a little more time for the public to weigh in on it.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. The only thing is it just sets it back. It sets back the time frame rather than being able to get it. It's going to take some time. You have to post the position and then
Certainly.
you have to interview and people have to have time to, give their time. So we were sort of trying to align this with when the master plan is completed, we kind of get someone in place. So it does slow down that process to go through all of the 3 readings. They have one opportunity to come in. There's not like they won't have any opportunity to speak on it. If it goes next week, they'd have, opportunity for one.
We could always maybe put it on without an emergency. Maybe we get absolutely nobody coming and speaking on it next week, which could likely be the case, and then we could always add the emergency back in.
Oh, okay.
That's a thought as well, but I guess I
Alright.
just struggle. We've had some meeting cancellations here recently, and this could have been discussed a couple weeks ago. We knew this was coming, so I just dislike the optics of everything's on an emergency.
You do not have to pass on first reading just because it's on emergency. We can leave the language as is. So all the emergency measure allows it to do is take immediate effect upon passage. You are under no obligation to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings. You may give it all 3 readings, give it 2 readings, anywhere within that. It just allows it to take emergency or immediate effect upon passage. If you took that clause out, we would be 30 days beyond passage. So
That's
I think I
a good
did the math with the council meeting schedule. If you took emergency out of the language, the last reading would be April 27th, which means you couldn't put it, actually post the job until 30 days after that, which puts us well into June. But leaving the emergency in there, and even if you gave it 2 or 3 readings, it would take immediate effect when you pass it.
Okay.
Thanks for explaining that.
I'd like to have the time to see what the master plan comes
Yeah.
up with, just so that I can digest the material and make sure that we're making need-based decisions based on what we hired them to do as well.
I was gonna say the same thing. When will we see the plan again? By the end of this month?
End of this one.
End of this month? Okay, so that's good. So to your point, if we left it as it was and then we see the plan, we can continue with it as intended. But I too would like to see it and just be able to talk to the constituents, to explain the need for it after seeing the plan myself. And then, I think that's really the only concern I had. I definitely think it's probably gonna be needed. I just think I'd feel better about it once I saw the plan.
We talked earlier today too about, could I start to recruit, put it out there, get feelers? I mean, because the approval is saying that, you're gonna approve the position, the salary. And, as long as obviously, as long as I didn't hire anybody. But if I wanted to start, but I don't know if I'd want to do that. Because I don't know if that's a good look for us. I feel like it's a supported position, and I feel like the community has heard us talking about it for quite a while. Great participation in the survey and the community engagement regarding parks. A lot of big decisions. This community knows there's a lot of big decisions that need to be made with regards to our park system. And so I think, and we've talked before about Brian retiring. Like Gina said, this would have all been discussed in budget had he given us like a date that he was going to retire, but he didn't. And so we didn't have that. So we do know that it is, we had a body that was working in the Parks Department that left us. So we do need that backfill to that. But this is adding additional capacity to make it a broader position, not just a maintenance role, but more of a strategic position. So I felt like on one hand, people kind of know, and maybe I could get the recruiting started, but I don't want to do that. I don't think it's a good look that if for some shot it didn't go through, that's not a good look that, people were interested, maybe sent resumes, and then if it didn't go through, that wouldn't be good.
Well, I think it's also prudent to probably wait until we get this Parks Master Plan back. We don't know entirely what it's gonna say, right?
We've
We've
had
had steering
meetings.
committee
Yeah.
who
it's not a new to
does,
us.
yeah,
Yeah.
who does know.
So the steering committee knows?
It does
I
have,
mean,
as far as,
we've been
yeah,
part of putting it together.
Oh, so you guys are steering what the outcome of the report's gonna be, or?
no. They just,
Oh,
they report to us where they are, like in the survey results, and so far, like they did an assessment, an inventory of everything we have, everything the community has said they wanted, kind of high level, and then they'll put it together more comprehensive for a presentation, but they've given us some high level.
Right.
You
and I
know,
wanna be clear, I'm not against it, I just am not there at this very moment. I think maybe this is a cart before the horse, but.
I like the idea that Liam mentioned where we don't
Yes.
have to suspend the rule,
Yeah.
the readings. We can still have the readings, keeping it as an emergency only allows it to go into effect after we approve it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to wait 30
Mhm.
days.
I would
Yeah.
definitely
Okay.
like to thank Liam for clarifying
Yes.
Yeah.
what that means.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of us were probably under the misconception that emergency automatically meant suspending the rules. And I appreciate the fact that that does not necessarily mean that.
Yeah.
It just simply means that it takes effect immediately upon passage, which I think Catherine is a very important point.
Mhm.
So we don't want to wait longer than we have to. But I
So-
also agree with Jamie's point and other points that the public needs an opportunity to hear.
absolutely. We're involving the public
Yeah.
so much when it comes to Parks and Recs, and I want to say, because you said the
Yeah.
cart before the horse, I think it's really important to know, we spent, we approved and engaged with consultants and spent money to have a master plan, and that master plan is the cart, and this position really is the horse. I don't want a master plan to come back and on the shelf with dust, because it'll have great things in it, but our maintenance department does not have the capacity to enact strategic plans and seek funding and grants, and neither does administration. I tried to do the best I could in a deputy role, and I did what I did for Dogwood, and it isn't easy to manage every department in the city and then also try to run a park department. That's not the title of, my job. And so that's making a dedicated title for that type of work to go forward into exploring what the park system can be. And that's inclusive of revenue streaming and recreation programming and many things that are coming out, which will be in the master plan. So
I think it sounds like the position is definitely probably going to be needed. I think we're all supportive of that. I think having the information out with the public, not just within committees here or in council, public has full access to that information, whatever presentations can be made to us, they're gonna have access to that. It will be more supported than probably by the public.
okay.
But I was gonna ask, like, what's the fallout for you if we delay that? So Liam, yes, thank you for explaining that, because I don't want you going into May and dealing with that by
Absolutely.
any means. So I think that was helpful, and I'm comfortable with that approach as well.
And I think council can make the decision too, to suspend the rules after the second reading.
Yes.
If the community.
No, I think,
is
Mr.
forward.
McLeister was
Okay.
correct. Let's see if anyone comes in. Let's give them that opportunity. I just don't want to silence that.
I just don't want to suspend the rules on the first reading.
Yeah.
It needs to.
As far as the grant writing too, with the mines grant that we got recently, I think we have a lot of in-house talent too. Cause I think was it Jennifer that wrote that grant?
Yeah, correct. And then when you write it, there's a lot more work after you receive it. So she will be dedicated to that,
Okay.
you know, and making sure that we're meeting with ODNR and then following all that, the core requirement on that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
If I could just maybe build on what Catherine said briefly too, and to give her a shout out. I mean, she has been our de facto parks planner, lo these many years and has done a great job. But I think implicit in what she was saying too is the thought that this would be somebody who wakes up every morning and thinks about strategically developing our parks. And we have great people who wake up every day and do think about our parks, including a lot of people in this room, but specifically our maintenance staff. But like Catherine mentioned earlier, their role is to maintain what we have, which is an incredibly important role, because if we don't have well-maintained parks, it's hard to make a case for expanding them. But given some of the things we have talked about strategically, and you'll see more when the draft master plan comes out, there are a lot of big strategic decisions before the city about, our parks, our pool, our golf course, where we want to go in the future. And we do feel like it is important to have some, professional that's dedicated to helping advise us and also yourselves on those types of decisions.
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah, one other just note you just brought up to my mind is that oversight over our management agreements over some of our park facilities right now, our municipal golf course and everything up there, swimming pool, pickleball, and then also our municipal pool and also the civic center. It's difficult to be able to have that much time to get in to do the oversight. And again, the maintenance area of operations, they're not doing that. So there does need to be, there's kind of a gap there. I think that having someone again dedicated to kind of really, reviewing that contract, having more frequent presence around that with the management operators and the management agreements. We have the meetings, we talk the budget numbers with them, but we can't be boots on the ground as much. And that's another opportunity in this role. And of course, also one of the bigger things is, obviously, if we're looking at the situation with the pool and down the road and what do we do and funding, and if somebody has to run a levy campaign on that, that's a lot of time too. So there's just a lot of things in that area.
Could a city
To
employee
consider.
run that levy campaign?
It would be spread around. There, not really one.
It would be the
dedicated.
same that we did for you. It's,
Legally speaking, I don't think,
well, it's providing the information to the people that run the
Yeah.
levy, and
That's what I
we've got a
Not
history
running
going.
Right, like the materials we've seen before, the encourage,
Information and-
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody has to pull that all together.
So is there any more on the particular, the new position? I'll move on to the other part of this. Did you have?
I just wanted to
Okay.
speak on the timing.
Yeah.
So I did pull up the council calendar just so I could be factual about it. So next week is the 23rd. So that would be the first reading. Your second reading would be April 13th. And then the third reading would be the 27th. Like we discussed, I think the 27th might be a little late, but you're still welcome to do it and it take immediate effect, or you could do it on the 13th. And I feel like that might split the difference if you see what the public perception is and
Yeah.
how many people come to speak.
Either one is fine.
Thank you. The other part of this ordinance contains those updates in the biweekly rate schedule. So I see there's 3 red lines, we're gonna call them that. One was under the superintendent position, and we are changing the streets and sanitary sewers language to the word service. You've got the addition of the new Parks Development Administrator role in there, and then the same thing under the operations manager, updating streets and sanitary sewer to just service. Anything more you'd like to say on that, Catherine?
Gina?
So I was understanding we wanted to hire the operations manager at the water plant. Effective 3/29.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. Internally, we posted that position. So that was what Tad Martinez was. He was the operations manager at the water treatment plant. He has moved into the superintendent role. So we internally posted the operations manager and promoted an internal operator at the water plant into that position. And we made that effective date 3/29.
I would say if this doesn't pass on first reading by emergency next week, I would also like to amend the appropriations to just pull the parks development person and the budget for that person out and read those concurring, but the rest of these, if they could pass. Does that make sense? The others are just title changes, but it allows us to fill that operation manager position of the department.
So Liam, what would the process be to pull that out?
I would have to amend it. I would just bring you amended ones,
Would we have a second one then?
yes.
So yeah, there'd have to be a separate piece for specifically the parks one, and we'd bring that up for the next committee. Or we could put it in on the 23rd without a committee report,
Because we discussed it today.
which it would be a whole separate piece of legislation. It would just be suspending the rules requiring a committee report, and we can put those on as two standalone issues.
Does it make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Again, we didn't, know it budget, or we would have, known all of this. We would have put an operations manager at the water treatment plant if we would have known the operations manager was going to have to move up because somebody was moving out, so.
The timing.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you would like, we can do that now as well. So you could make the motion to amend to remove everything from this one specifically. She'd have to amend the appropriations on the floor next week, or we can just wait till next week, bring the separate legislation up and do it from there. Whichever one all of you
Well-
decide.
Chairperson Pierpont.
I don't know, what do you think? I don't have a strong opinion either way. That sounds,
We can always just wait till
Complicated.
next week and
yeah, I'm thinking let's not
That's
do
cleaner.
it today.
Yeah.
Let's wait and see if we need to do that. Would you
Yeah.
agree? Yeah, is everyone comfortable with that?
Have it ready to separate
Okay.
next meeting, then we can amend if we get to
Yeah.
that point where we want to continue to vote.
Then we
And
can.
then we can bring that up as without a committee report, because we're discussing that there could be a possibility in terms of timing. We don't want to slow down the operations side of it, but we all agree we want to have a conversation about the parks
Right.
superintendent.
It's clear if you
Matches.
discussed it tonight, and if you make that separation at the first meeting, to the
Yes.
public, I believe that'd be a lot
we
clearer.
will go ahead and get those things all prepped internally
Just
and
in
we can
case.
cross that bridge
Okay.
when we come to it.
That would be fair.
Appreciate that. Okay, anything else for discussion? And if not, is there a motion to move item 5A to the council agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, here we are. I'll make a motion to adjourn.